Good morning, yogis. My name is Daniel from Daniel Lee Yoga. Thank you for joining me for practice. Class today will be a 60-minute Vinyasa flow class with a focus on opening our chest and our shoulders. Lots of benefits for working in that area. I know, at least in my neck and my shoulder area, that's where I keep a lot of stress and tension. And so, working to really open up the shoulders and the chest allows us to bring some awareness there. It allows us to realign our spine in a more comfortable position. It really just allows us to alleviate stress, at least in my case. So, I hope you're ready for class today. With it being an all levels class, I'll provide many modifications along the way so that yogis of any skill level will find a path that works for them. As far as recommended props, I'd say a strap could come in handy today for a couple of our postures. I'm just using a shirt, so you can use a strap, belt, shirt, towel, anything like that. It's always nice to have a towel or blocks nearby as well if you typically practice with those, but those are not completely necessary. So strap will be nice to have. So go ahead and find that if you don't already have that nearby. And we'll come back here and get started on our backs. So thank you all for joining me. Ellen, always nice to see you check in. So we'll begin on our backs with our knees bent, bottoms of the feet on the mat, arms rest down by your sides. Coming into constructive rest. So with your knees bent, let your knees fall in to touch, and then separate your feet out wide, maybe to the width of your mat, just to your capacity here. With your arms down by your sides, just gently press your hands and your arms down. Lift your hips up just an inch maybe, and then draw your tailbone towards the backs of your heels, and then release your tailbone and everything back down on the mat. Try to have as much of your spine on the mat as you can. And we'll soften into this posture as we begin our practice. Maybe you're one that likes to soften your eyes or close your gaze completely. Let's take a minute or two to transition, focusing on our breath here. You can keep your arms down by your sides, or if you'd like to, you can place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart, just allowing you to physically feel the stomach and the chest as you breathe in and out. So again, taking some moments here to find our breath, beginning with just focusing on the length of your inhales and your exhales. Perhaps taking notice of how the air flows in and how the air comes out. Perhaps it passes through your nostrils, tips of your nose, or maybe it passes through the back of your mouth and out through your lips. And as you focus on your breath, begin to deepen your breathing. Taking note of how your belly and chest, collarbones rise on your inhale, and how everything falls on your exhales. And again, with our practice of asana and movement, trying to alleviate some of the stress in our shoulders and neck and upper back. Taking time out of your day to just sit and breathe. It's also a great way to reduce some stress there as well. Just taking a couple moments for yourself can really make a big difference. Let's take 2 or 3 more slow, deep breaths on your own. One more breath here. All right, if your eyes are closed, gently start to blink your eyes open. Hello, Coney. Let's separate your knees and your feet to hips width distance, and then draw your knees into your chest. Gentle wrap of your hands around your shins or your thighs. See if you can softly sway from side to side, giving that low back a little massage here. Okay, coming back to stillness. Keep your right knee hugged in. Let's extend and straighten that left leg straight out, releasing the left heel to the mat, or you can hover an inch or two off the mat for a little more of a challenge. Either way, both feet are flexed, spinning that inner left thigh in and down. Try to draw the right knee in as you extend that left heel out away from your body. Keeping the shoulders and the back of the head on the mat, try to draw the navel in and down to again keep as much of your spine pressing into the mat. Hold for one more breath. And on your exhale, let's switch. Draw the left knee in, extend the right leg straight out. Again, heel can rest on the mat or hover an inch or two off. Flexing both feet, spinning that inner right thigh in and down. It keeps the knee and the toes facing up towards the sky. Gentle draw the left knee into your chest as you extend out and create length through that right heel. Draw the navel in and down. One more breath. And exhale, draw both knees into your chest. Gentle squeeze. Now keep your knees bent, but release the bottoms of your feet back down onto the floor, setting up for a bridge pose. Dynamic here. So knees and feet hips width distance, ankles underneath the knees, arms start down by the sides. Now we won't be holding our bridge pose, we'll be adding some movement here and eventually add our arms. So make sure your feet are nice and parallel, ankles underneath the knees, arms down by your sides. Press your feet into the mat, take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up. Keep your shoulders on the mat. And then gentle release from the top of your spine. Middle back, low back, last to arrive. Now this time on your inhale, let's lift up. And exhale, gently release. Two more times on your breath, and just to your capacity. It's still early here, so just adding some movement into the spine here. Gentle back bend. One more here, bridge pose dynamic. And exhale, release. So let's keep moving. Option to add the arms. So on your inhale, as you lift hips, belly, chest, arms come up overhead, backs of the hands come towards the ground. And exhale, arms out and up, down. Everything releases back down. Three more times, just like that. So if you're adding the arms, as they come overhead, maybe the backs of the hands come towards, maybe they hit the ground, or maybe they get close. Two more times. So inhaling as you lift everything up, maybe arms come overhead. Exhale, release them down. One more time. Inhale, lift up, arms come up, over and back. Exhale, gently release. Stay in your bridge pose just for a moment. Let's let those knees knock into touch. Separate the feet out to the width of the mat again. Hold here just for 2 breaths. One more breath here. All right, knees and feet back to hips width distance. Draw those knees in. Let's cross one ankle on top of the other. Wrap your hands behind your thighs. Slight tuck of the chin, lifting the back of the head off the mat. And if you'd like, you can roll up and down your spine a couple times. You can keep your neck tucked if you're rolling up and down. We're eventually coming into tabletop, so take a couple rolls here. And then if you'd like, you can cross your legs, come over your knees, and meet in tabletop, or just swing your legs off to the side. All right, coming back to tabletop, fingers nice and spread, wrists underneath the shoulders. Hips, knees, and ankles all in one line with the knees directly underneath the hips. Tops of the feet to the mat. Gentle press of the tops of the feet and the shins down. And engage the abdominal muscles by lifting the navel in and up. Tailbone draws away from the back of the head. Crown of the head draws forward. Now roll those outer upper arms in so the elbow creases start to face forward. Gentle press through the base of each finger and each palm. Hold for one more breath here. Let's move through our cow cat. So on your inhale, drop the navel, send the heart forward, look up. Exhale, reverse, round the spine, let the head hang heavy. 3 more times. Inhale, navel drops, heart forward, look up. And exhale, round the back. Inhaling through your cow, shoulder blades draw together here. And exhale through your cat, shoulders draw away from each other. One more time. Inhale through your cow. And exhale through your cat. All right, gently release back into your tabletop and release your forearms to the mat, elbows right where your wrists are. Come into our forearm tabletop. Make sure your forearms and your palms are still nice and parallel, fingers are nice and spread. Start by extending the right leg back, curl the toes under, and extend the left arm out to the side. We're adding a twist here. So on your inhale, lift those left fingertips up to the sky, open the chest, and exhale, send that left arm under and through. 3 more times. Inhale, lift, fingertips to the sky, and exhale, under and through. 2 more times. Inhale, fingertips to the sky, exhale, under and through. One more time. Inhale, lift those fingers to the sky. And exhale, send that arm under and through. Gently release back to your forearm tabletop. Release the right knee to the mat. We'll switch to the other side. So curl the left toes under, extend and straighten that left leg back. Right fingertips and arm out to the side, palm faces down. On your inhale, right fingertips to the sky, open, broaden through those collarbones. And exhale, send that right arm under and through. 3 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Keep pressing that left forearm into the mat. Inhale as you raise the right fingertips to the sky. Exhale, under and through. One more time. So inhale, lift the arm up to the sky. And exhale, arm under and through. Now gently release back to your forearm tabletop. And listen closely. We'll come into puppy dog pose. So lower body stays just as it is. Keep your hips right above your knees, tops of the feet to the mat. You're in your forearm tabletop now, so we'll start to walk our forearms and our palms forward so that our forehead can gently rest on the mat. If that's too uncomfortable, you can always place a block underneath your forehead, but the idea here, again, is to keep our hips directly above our knees and just extend your arms out to your capacity, keeping your forearms and your palms on the mat. So a gentle rest of your forehead down here. Just allow yourself to stay here for 3 or 4 deep breaths. Should be a nice little shoulder opener even here. And if you want to make this a little more intense, you can press your palms and your forearms down into the mat. Maybe you start to walk your fingertips forward, but again, keep your hips over your knees. Staying here for 2 more breaths. This is a wonderful alternative to downward facing dog as well. Try not to allow your belly to sink too much, so draw the navel in and up, and tailbone draws away from the body, back to the short edge of your mat. One more breath here in your puppy pose. And then hands back. As you lift your torso up, nice and slowly, we'll come into a seat, either in our Virasana pose with the ankles underneath the hips, tops of the feet stayed to the mat. If this is too uncomfortable, you can place a block in between your feet or a blanket just to give you a little more elevation. And if neither of those options work for you, just come into a cross-legged seat. All right, so once you've found your seat, let's work on the wrists a little bit. Interlacing the fingers, bring the wrist to touch and elbows to touch. Start in your first direction, just slow rotations here. And let's gently slow that down, move in the opposite direction. And slow it down. Remember which thumb is on top. Release your fingers. Re-interlace your fingers, opposite thumb on top. Wrists to touch, elbows to touch. And then just start rotating in that first direction. Always good to bring some movement here into our wrists. A little bit of love. And let's slow it down, move in the opposite direction. And nice and slow, let's release the fingers, arms out and down to the side. If your legs are crossed in a seat, switch the crossing of your shins, bring the opposite shin in front. All right, working a little more cat and cow here in our seat. So gently resting your palms on tops of your thighs or your knees. We'll do some cow cats here. So on your inhale, send the chest forward, add a slight back bend, gaze up towards the sky. On your exhale, round your back, shoulders separate, head lowers, chin to chest. 3 more times, just like that. Inhaling through your cow, nice arch of the back, but keep the spine long. And exhale, round the back into your cow. Cat pose, I'm sorry. 2 more times here in our seated cow cats. Exhale as we round. One more inhale through your cow. And exhale through your cat. All right, come back up to center, lifting your chest up. This time we'll add our arms. So extend your arms out to a T, palms face forward. So on your inhale, come back into your cow, arch your back, keep the spine nice and long, really separate those arms out wide, shoulders draw together. And on your exhale, as you round your back into cat pose, hug yourself. So bring one arm on top, hug yourself, grab opposite shoulders. Keep moving. Inhale, open the chest, arms out wide, cow pose with the arms. And exhale, opposite arm on top as you hug yourself, grabbing opposite shoulders. Let the chin come to the chest. 2 more times. So inhale, open out wide. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. And exhale, round, hugging yourself. This time, stay here, hugging yourself. Now keep your arms just as they are, and let's just lift our chest up. So nice long spine here. So just in our comfortable seat, but we're still hugging ourselves. Now, option, we're working towards Gyrudasana here. There's a couple different options for our arms. First option, stay here, hugging yourself. Second option, bring the backs of your hands to touch, and you can stay here. Third option, maybe wrap your arms palms to touch. Avoid interlacing your fingers here. So choose what option works for you. Either way, try to lift your elbows up. Draw the shoulders away from each other, especially the insides of the shoulder blades. Keep trying to lift through the chest, but draw the tailbone down. Hold for one more breath here. Now remember which arm is on top. Separate your arms out wide. Come into a cow pose just for a breath. And exhale, wrap opposite arm on top. Cat pose. Just keep your chin to your chest for a moment here. Okay, now lift your chest up, nice long spine. Keep your arms wrapped. So Gyrudasana, arms on other side. So same option as before, you can stay hugging yourself. Maybe you bring the backs of your hands to touch. Maybe your arms can wrap, palms face each other. Again, avoiding interlacing the fingers. Lift those elbows up to your shoulders if you can. And again, separate the shoulder blades, especially the inner edges, and drawing the outer edges down your back. Really lift those frontal hip points up, drawing the tailbone down. Navel draws in and up. Hold for one more breath here. And exhale, let's release those arms out. One last cow pose. And gently release the arms down. Back is nice and long. Coming back through tabletop. So gently walk your hands forward. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's tap our feet out a little bit. So pitter patter those feet, tops of the feet, press down into the mat, back and forth. All right, come back to stillness, moving into down dog. So step the right foot back, step the left foot back into plank, and then lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Keep moving those legs out. So take 4 or 5 breaths here to move and groove in your down dog. Find whatever movement worked for you. Maybe you lift one heel, lift the other. Maybe you drop one shoulder. Just take some time in our first down dog to move. Again, options are always to drop down into your tabletop or even come back into that puppy pose where we were before, keeping the hips above the knees, arms extend out nice and long. Take one more breath in your movement. And let's all meet back in our down dog now. Inhale as we're gazing forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Stay in your forward fold. Now here where you can maybe grab your strap. It might come in handy. We'll stay in our forward fold, but add an interlacing of our fingers behind our backs. Again, we're really opening up our shoulders here. So if you want to use your strap or towel, whatever you may be using, I'm just using a shirt here, you can grab either end in either hand behind your back. If you're a little more mobile here with your shoulders, you can possibly interlace your fingers, bring the wrist to touch, and maybe straighten the arms wherever you are. Either way, let the crown of the head draw down towards the mat. Keep a healthy bend in your knees here, maybe the chest rests on the thighs. Try to lengthen through the back of the neck by letting your head hang heavy and lifting the wrist maybe up a little closer to the sky, or if you're a little more mobile, closer to the floor. But shoulders draw away from the ears here. Hold here for 2 more breaths. We have our forward fold, just adding our arms. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release the arms. Stay in your forward fold just for a moment. We'll come up to standing, but nice and slow. Start by pressing down through all 4 corners of the feet. Spin the inner thighs in and back. And start to lift and stack one vertebrae at a time. Slowly rising all the way into our mountain pose. Chin is the last thing to arrive. Once you're up standing, let's inhale, bring those arms out and up overhead. Palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Well done. Okay, so make sure you're still at the top of your mat. Feet are hips width distance. Feet nice and parallel. Arms down to the side, palms face forward. Checking into our Tadasana mountain pose. So as you press down through all 4 corners of the feet, try to lift your inner and outer arches up. Lifting the kneecaps up to engage the muscles in the legs here. Drawing the tailbone down and try to lift these frontal hip points up. Softening the shoulders down away from the ears. Again, slight external rotation of the shoulders to allow the palms to face forward. Chin parallel to the mat. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Adding some movement now. Let's inhale, bring the arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Let's plant our palms, step both feet back into our plank pose. Holding plank pose for 3 to 4 breaths here. Always have an option to drop your knees down to the mat. Either way, try to spread your shoulder blades away from each other and draw the navel in and up. Tailbone draws down towards the backs of your heels. Hold for 1 more breath. Let's everyone drop down to your knees. We'll vinyasa through. So inhale as you shift forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way down to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Push your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift up into your back bend. Keep the low rib tips down. Send the heart forward. Tailbone draws down. Ankles draw in. Exhale as you gently release. Keep the knees down. Curl the toes. Press yourself up through knees down plank pose. And then lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths in your down dog. You can always have the option to drop into your tabletop or into your puppy pose. Now that vinyasa movement are those couple of poses strung together. I'll be advancing them as we work through practice, so feel free to follow along with me. Or if you have any other version of your vinyasa movement, feel free to take that in class. You can always skip it as well and come right to down dog, tabletop, puppy pose, and wait to regroup. Okay, one more breath in our down dog. All right, inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat, back up to standing. Inhale, arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. One more time. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step both feet back into your plank pose. Again, holding for 3 breaths here. An option to follow along with me through our vinyasa or take what other variation works for you. So let's all drop down to our knees if you're coming with me. Shift forward, bend the elbows, lower all the way down. Top to the feet to the mat. Push your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift up into your back bend. Maybe you straighten your arms into your full cobra, firming those outer upper arms in. Elbow creases face forward. Tailbone draws down. Exhale as you gently release. Keep the knees down, curl the toes under. Lift your hips up and back, all the way up into downward facing dog. 3 breaths here in your down dog. Make sure your arms are shoulder width distance, feet hips width distance. Ankles are directly behind those center toes. Keep firming the outer upper arms in here so the elbow creases start to face forward even in your down dog. All right, let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend your knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet, back up to standing. Inhale, arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. All right, moving to now face the long edge side of your mat, coming into a wide-legged stance. So starting in your Tadasana mountain pose and just separate your legs out wide. So your feet stay nice and parallel. And moving out just to your capacity. Make sure those ankles are still behind those center toes. Start with your hands on your hips. Use your thumbs to draw your tailbone down, fingers to lift the frontal hip points up. This is where if you have your strap, it may come in handy. We'll be adding a forward fold with a bind behind our back. So just like in our standing forward fold, if you needed the strap to interlace your fingers, if you couldn't interlace your fingers, you can use your strap behind your back here. Otherwise, you can interlace your fingers behind your back, bring your wrists to touch, straighten your arms back and down. So notice how your chest may already start to puff out. See if you can draw your tailbone down, lift those frontal hip points up, drawing the outer shoulder blades down your back, inner shoulder blades separate away from each other. Take a nice deep inhale to prepare as you send your heart up to the sky. And exhale, keep a nice long spine, hinge forward, nice, slow, and controlled. Keep drawing the thighs in towards the midline. Kneecaps draw up towards the hip sockets. Maybe you start to lift your arms up a little more. As you lower about halfway, you can let your chin slightly tuck to let the crown of the head draw down towards the ground. Keep equally pressing down through all 4 corners of the feet and shift weight more into the toes, but keep the heels on the mat. Maybe you can lift your arms up a little bit higher, hold for 1 more breath. And exhale, release the clasp of your fingers, palms down to the mat, shoulder width distance. Lift up halfway, slight bend in the knees, bring your hands to your hips, lifting your torso up nice and slow, straightening the legs. Staying in your wide-legged stance here, moving into our warrior 2. Start with the left leg. Open up the left leg out to the side so the left toes face the short edge side. Maybe right leg internally rotates just slightly. Bend that front left knee towards the pinky side edge. Maybe you'll align heel to arch alignment or slightly wider for more stability. Squaring the shoulders to the long edge side. Extend the arms out to a T shape, palms face down. Turn your neck to gaze over those left fingertips, working on the shoulders a little bit here. So this is our neutral position here. Let's externally rotate by rotating from the shoulder blades so the palms start to face up towards the sky. And then internally rotate so the palms face down, and then maybe they face behind you. 2 more times. So inhale, rotate externally, palms face up. And exhale, palms face back. 1 more time. Externally rotate, palms face up. And externally rotate, internally rotate, palms face back. Okay, release back to neutral. Come back into that external rotation. So our palms are facing up, our thumbs are facing behind us. Now keep that external rotation. Try to rotate now just from your forearm so that your palms face down. So you keep that external rotation in the shoulder, but your palms are now facing down. All right, reversing our warrior now. Release your right arm to your right leg. Bring your left arm up to the sky and side bend over your right leg. Option to add a bind here. You can either keep your right hand on your right arm, your right hand on your right leg, or if you'd like, internally rotate that right arm and place the back of the right hand to the low back, or maybe you grab the inside edge of that left leg. Staying here, adding some dynamic movement. Let's inhale as we straighten that front leg. Exhale, rebend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Keep the bicep next to the ear. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. Release back into your warrior two, both arms out. And then release the hands down to your hips, straighten that front leg, re-parallel your feet. We'll set up for the other side. So right leg externally rotates, toes face the short edge side. Left leg slight internal rotation. Bending the right knee over that right ankle towards the pinky side edge. Really firm this front thigh in and under. Knee draws out. Now square the shoulders to the long edge side of your mat. Set up your heel to arch alignment or slightly wider for stability. Extend your arms out to a T, palms face down, and then turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. Let's see if I can get the right cues this time. So working again to rotate from our shoulder socket. So externally rotate the entire arm so the palms start to face up. And then back through neutral and internally rotate, palms face behind you, thumbs come down. Two more times. Externally rotate, palms face up. And internally rotate, palms face back, thumbs down. One more time. External rotation from the shoulder socket. Internally rotate. All right, come back to your external rotation. So thumbs back, palms face up. Keep that. But again, try and rotate just from your forearms, from your elbows down, so that the forearms face down. So it keeps that external rotation at the shoulder socket, but the palms face down. Keeping the gaze over the right fingertips, knee still draws towards that pinky side edge. We'll reverse our warrior. So drop the left arm down, right arm up to the sky, side bend over that left leg. Keep the right bicep next to the ear. Stay here if you'd like, or you can add a bind with that left arm. Internally rotating, placing the back of the left hand to the low back, or maybe you grab the inside edge of that right thigh. Adding some movement. So inhale as we straighten that front leg. Exhale, rebend. Three more times. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. One more time. Remember to breathe as you inhale. And exhale, bend. Releasing back into your warrior two. Hands come back to your hips. Straighten that front leg. Let's re-parallel those feet. Stay in a wide-legged stance. We'll have the option for one more forward fold with a bind behind our back. If you were using your strap, you can use that. Again, bringing it in either hand behind your back. If you're interlacing your fingers, opposite thumb on top this time behind your back. If you don't remember, it's probably the way that feels the most awkward. So let's interlace those fingers behind our back. Bring the wrist to touch, straighten the arms. Tailbone draws down. Frontal hip points lift up. Keep drawing the navel in and up. Take a nice deep inhale as you send your heart towards the sky. And exhale, forward fold. Keep drawing the thighs in towards the midline. Keep a nice long spine. Maybe slight tuck of the chin to allow the crown of the head to fall down. Lifting the arms up a little higher off your back. Again, drawing those kneecaps up towards the hip sockets to engage the muscles in the legs for stability. And shifting the weight more into the toes, but keep the heels on the mat. Can you draw those shoulders farther away from your ears? One more breath here. And then gently release the clasp of your fingers, arms underneath your shoulders. Slight bend in the knees as you lift up halfway, bring your hands to your hips, and then straightening your legs as you lift your torso up. Nice job. Let's heel toe those feet back into hips width distance, and then meet me back at the top of your mat. All right, keep your strap or whatnot that you may be using nearby about halfway up your mat in case you want to use that as we continue through class. All right, at the top of your mat, feet hips width distance, arms down to the side. And take 2 breaths here. Just settle back into your Tadasana pose, drawing the tailbone down. Nice long spine, chin is parallel to the mat. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. One more inhale and exhale. All right, come right into chair pose. So knees bend, hips back, arms forward, Utkatasana. Make sure your ankles, knees, and hips are all in one line. And if you can gaze down and see your toes, that's great. If not, try to shift your hips back so those toes come a little more visible. Now with the arms up by your ears, try to have your palms face in towards each other. And draw the navel in and up, tailbone draws down to keep a nice long spine. Avoid arching or rounding here. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, let's gently release into our forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Bring your hands to the tops of your shins, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Let's plant our palms, keep the left foot forward, step the right leg back. Adding a twist here, so right palm underneath the right shoulder, either to a block underneath or fingertips or palm to the mat. Left arm out to the side, take an inhale to prepare. And exhale, send those left fingertips to the sky. Maybe start to rotate so the left palm faces forward. And if you'd like, you can add a bind here. So either keep your left arm up or internally rotate that left arm. Bend the left elbow and place the back of the left hand to the low back. Really start to open the shoulders, broaden through the collarbones, but separate the inside edges of the shoulders away from each other. One more breath here. Keep drawing the thighs in towards the middle. And I'll lift that left arm back up to the sky. Left arm comes back and down. Stay in your high lunge. Press your feet down into the mat. And inhale, lift the torso up, lift the arms up into your high lunge. Now release your hands down to your hips. Draw the left hip back, right hip draws forward. Both toes are still facing forward. You can have a slight bend in this back knee, adding some movement here. So inhale, straighten the front leg. And exhale, rebend. 3 more times, just like that. Try to lift these frontal hip bones out of those hip sockets. And if you feel a little unbalanced here as you're bending and straightening, just separate your feet a little bit wider on the mat. So one more time here, inhale as you straighten, and exhale, rebend. All right, shift forward 45 degrees. You're ready for some balancing. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, shift forward, lifting the right leg up into your up to hip height. Now keeping your hands at your hips for now, we'll send the right knee across and on top of the left knee. So lower that right knee on top of the left knee, and maybe the toes come to the mat. Setting up our lower body for Garudasana Pose. So right knee is over the left knee, but keep the shoulders, keep the hips square forward, and maybe the right toes come on the mat. Or if you'd like, you can lift them off the mat, slight flex of the foot, or option to maybe wrap those right toes behind the left calf. Choose what option works for you, and then add your arms. So let's just send our arms up overhead, palms face each other, just like in our Tadasana with our arms overhead. So same thing here, tailbone draws down, lifting those frontal hip points up, palms face each other, shoulders soften down. Take a nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, release into your chair pose. So feet hips width distance, gentle bend of the knees, hips back, keep your arms nice and long. And then exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold, option to Vinyasa. So we'll step both feet back into plank pose. Lowering your knees to the mat, shift forward. Lower all the way or halfway, tops of the feet to the mat. Press your feet down, hips down. Inhale into your back bend. Baby Cobra, full Cobra, or upward facing dog with your knees off the mat, arms straight, wrists underneath the shoulders. Exhale as you gently release, curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let's inhale as we gaze forward, bend the knees. Exhale, walk your step to the top of the mat. Inhale as you lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Back into our chair pose, knees bend, hips back, arms forward just for a breath. And then straighten the legs, hands and arms down to the sides. We'll move into our other side. So back into our chair pose, knees bend, hips back, arms forward. And exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold, plant your palms, keep your left foot forward, step your right leg back. And setting up for our twist here. Oh, other way, sorry. Keep your right foot forward, step your left foot back. Left arm underneath that left shoulder, either palm or fingertips to the mat or to a block. Right arm out to the side, palm faces down. Take an inhale to prepare. And exhale, add your twist, right fingertips to the sky, rotating the right palm to face forward. Maybe the gaze comes up towards the fingertips. Option to stay here, or if you'd like, internally rotate that right arm. Bend the right elbow, back of the right hand to the low back. Keep trying to stack the shoulders, broadening through the collarbones, shoulders draw away from the ears. Whatever variation you have, remember to breathe for one more breath. Exhale, release the arm up to the sky. Arm comes out and down back into your low lunge. Both feet are still facing forward. Press down through your feet and lift your torso up, arms up overhead. And then release the hands down to the hips. Keep drawing this right hip back, left hip forward, and we'll add our movement. So inhale, straightening that front leg. Exhale, rebend. 3 more times. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, rebend. Again, as you move here, if you find yourself a little off balance, it can help to separate your legs a little bit wider. Just try to keep your shoulders and your pelvis facing forward. And then come back to your high lunge with that front knee bent. We'll shift forward 45 degrees. Take an inhale to prepare. And exhale, shift forward, draw your left knee up to hip height. Again, keep your hands at your hips for now. Send your left knee across your right, and then lower your left knee on top of that right knee. Again, options with the slight bend in that right knee is to lower the left toes to the mat for a little more stability, or keep them off the mat, flexing the foot. Final option, if you have more mobility or flexibility here, maybe you wrap those left toes around the right calf. Adding the arms here, so let's extend the arms out and up, palms face each other, overhead. And just like in our Tadasana Pose, so we'll press down through all 4 corners of that right foot. Even try to shift the right shin back so that more weight is in the heel. Draw the tailbone down, lift the frontal hip points up, shoulders soften away from the ears. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, we'll release into our chair pose. Knees, feet, ankles, hips all in one line. And then exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, forward fold, cleansing vinyasa, palms down, step both feet back, knees down or up as you shift forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way or halfway down. Tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale into your back bend. Baby cobra, full cobra, upward facing dog. Wrists underneath the shoulders, ankles draw in. And exhale, gently release. Curling the toes under, lifting your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Stay here for 3 breaths. Remember, you can always skip those vinyasas, come right to down dog, maybe take puppy pose, tabletop, or even child's pose for a break. Keep pressing your chest back towards your thighs for one more breath in your child's pose. And let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips with distance, inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet, inhale, arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Final sequence here. Let's come right into chair pose. Knees bend, hips back, arms forward. Exhale, release into your forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Keep your left foot forward. Step your right leg back. Right palm or fingertips underneath the right shoulder. Inhale as you open up into your twist, left fingertips to the sky, just for a breath here. And exhale, release the left fingertips back down into your low lunge. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, let's lift up into our high lunge, arms overhead. This time, stay in your high lunge. Open your arms out to a T, palms face forward. Just like when we were in our seat, we're adding our cat-cows with our arms. So inhale into your cow pose, arch your back, nice long spine. Open up those arms, broad through the collarbones. And exhale, round your back into cat pose, hug yourself. 3 more times. So inhale, open. And exhale, close. Inhale, open into your cow pose. Exhale, wrap your arms, hug yourself, cat. One more time. Inhale, open. And exhale, round cat pose. Stay in your cat pose. Keep your arms just as they are and just lift your torso up. So setting up for a Garudasana. So choose whatever arm variation that works for you. You can stay hugging yourself. Bring the backs of your hands to touch or palms face forward or palms face each other. Now shift forward 45 degrees. Take an inhale to prepare. And exhale, lift up that right knee up to hip height as you shift forward. And just like before, we'll add our right knee on top of our left. So send the right knee across, drop the right knee on top of the left, and start to lower your hips, send your hips back. Same options for the legs. Maybe the toes come down to the mat, or maybe they stay slightly hovering, right foot is flexed. Keep sending the hip back, send the shin back so the more weight is in that left heel. And try to square your hips, you're trying to square your hips, draw the right hip back. Keep drawing the tailbone down. Shoulders separate, trying to lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, release into your chair pose. And exhale into your forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step right into your down dog. Lifting your hips up and back. And then inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walker step, top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, hips back, chair pose, arms forward. And then straightening, hands down through the center and arms down to the side. One more side here, so let's come back into our chair pose. And then exhale as you release, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step your left foot back this time. Left palm or fingertips underneath that left shoulder. Right arm out to the sky. Let's inhale, bring the right fingertips to the sky, just holding for a breath here in our twist. And exhale, releasing that right arm down. Both toes face forward, press down through your feet. Inhale as you lift your torso up, arms up overhead. And again, we'll add our cow cat. So extend the arms out wide, palms face forward. We'll inhale through our cow pose, arching the back, sending the arms out wide. Exhale, hug yourself, cat pose, grab opposite shoulders. 3 more times. Inhale, open up. Exhale, hug yourself, opposite arm on top. Keep moving. Inhale, open. Exhale, wrap. Inhale, open. And exhale, wrap. Make sure your left arm is underneath your right arm. So left arm underneath your right arm, hugging yourself in your cat pose. Keep your arms as they are. Lift your torso up so you know where we're going. Take the arm variation that works for you. Hug yourself, back of the hands or palms face forward, palms face each other. Shift forward 45 degrees. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, shift everything forward, lifting your left knee up to hip height, flexing those toes. So draw the left knee across your right, lower it gently on top, and then maybe the left toes come to the mat. Maybe they stay up, feet are flexed. Find your balance here. Keep lifting those elbows up to shoulder height. And send more weight into the heel as you shift the shin back. Tailbone still draws down, shoulders draw away. Maybe you lower your hips a little bit more. Keep broadening through the collarbones, drawing the navel in and up. Hold here for one more breath. And exhale, release into your chair pose. Last chair pose, I promise. And exhale, rebend, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step both feet back. Let's lift our hips up and back to downward facing dog. Last down dog. Take 3 deep breaths here. One more breath. And we'll gently shift forward, lower onto our knees. Send our hips back to our heels. Send your legs off to a side. And we'll come into a seat. All right, coming into your seat, Upavista Konasana, wide-legged forward fold. So separate your legs out wide. Now, if you have trouble just sitting up straight, I know I do here. So I like to sit on a block, place it underneath my sit bones here. You can always place a towel, roll up your mat, or anything just to give you a little more elevation. Allows me to keep my spine a little bit nice and longer here. So separating your legs out just to your capacity. We'll have a nice long hold in our forward fold here, or just staying up straight if that's in your capacity. All right, so with the feet flexed, toes drawing back towards the sky, or towards your face, spinning these inner thighs in and down to keep the knees and toes facing up towards the sky. Staying right here, or allow yourself to add a forward fold. So if you're coming with me, inhale as you bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Keep a nice long spine. Send your heart forward. Maybe you allow your fingertips or your palms to rest on the mat or on the floor in front of you, but keep your arms shoulder width distance. Keep drawing those toes back towards your face so you have a slight active engagement in the legs here. Keep the kneecaps draw in towards those hip sockets. Avoid rounding your spine too much here, so try to keep a nice long spine. Your chin can slightly tuck. Imagine yourself sending your heart forward. Staying here for 3 deep breaths, so either in your forward fold or staying up nice and straight. Two more breaths here. All right, gently start to walk your hands back, lifting your torso up. Come into a bound angle Badakanasana. So your knees stay out wide, but you'll bend your knees, bring the bottoms of your feet together. If you are on a prop or elevated, you can stay there, or maybe remove it if that works better for you. But bringing the bottoms of the feet to touch. Your ankles can be as close to your hips or as far away as you'd like. And just gently wrap your hands underneath your shins or your ankles. Again, same options as before. You can stay up nice and straight or at a forward fold. So if you're coming with me, take an inhale, nice long spine. And exhale, send your heart forward, add your forward fold. You can keep your hands wrapped around your shins or underneath your ankles. Maybe they come underneath your feet. Or perhaps your arms fall out in front of you, shoulder width distance. Keep trying to draw the knees closer to the mat to open up those hips. And again, keep a nice long spine, just chin slightly tucked. If you are close enough to the mat where you want to place a block or two underneath your forehead, that's always an option as well. We'll be here for 4 to 5 nice, slow, long, deep breaths. One more breath here. All right, begin to gently lift your chest up, lift your forehead up. And you can twist here in our bound angle. So again, make sure you can sit up nice and straight. If you feel like you're falling back, just place something underneath your sit bones. Now adding a twist, releasing the left fingertips behind your back, as close to your low back as you can get them. But be nice and light on those left fingertips. Inhale as you bring the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, twist to your left. Maybe your right palm comes to the outside of that left knee. So keep it a nice long back here, nice long spine. So you're rooting down through the sit bones, rising up through the crown of your head, drawing the left shoulder back. Maybe the gaze comes over the left shoulder to look behind. One more breath here. And then gently release back through center. We'll switch to the other side. So right fingertips come close to that low back. Be nice and gentle. Left fingertips up to the sky. Take an inhale to prepare. And exhale, twist to your right. Left palm to the outside of that right knee. Right shoulder draws away, really broadening through the collarbones here. Maybe you turn your neck to look over the right shoulder. 2 breaths here. All right, and gently turn your neck back, release everything back to center. Palms underneath the knees, gently lift your knees up. We'll lower back onto our spine, so with your hands back beside your hips, feet up close to the top of your mat. Keep your knees bent, hold onto your shins or your thighs, and gently roll back onto your back. Keep your knees bent. We'll set up for one bridge pose here. This time we'll hold, so knees and feet hips width distance, ankles underneath the knees, arms down by the sides, palms face down. Take a nice inhale to prepare. And exhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up, bridge pose. And keep the back of your head and the shoulders on the mat, spinning the inner thighs in and down to keep the knees tracking over the ankles. Tailbone draws towards the backs of the knees to keep the spine nice and long. Keep pressing down through those feet, maybe lift a little bit higher for one more breath. And exhale, gently release from the top of the spine, middle of the back, low back, last to arrive. All right, let's draw those knees into the chest. Gentle squeeze here. And then keep the knees and the feet together. Extend the arms out to a T or a field goal pose, palms face up. And bring the knees over the hips, shins parallel to the mat, feet are flexed, so 90-degree angle. Setting up for a twist here. So take an inhale to prepare, draw that navel in and down. And exhale, gently and slowly let your knees fall off to the right side of the mat. As they gently fall, maybe you place a block underneath those knees, but try to keep your left shoulder rooted to the mat. Knees stay up at least hip height if you can. And then maybe you turn your gaze to look over the left arm, left fingertips for your full spinal twist here. Just 2 slow, deep breaths. All right, gaze back up through center. Press the backs of your hands into the mat, palms still face up. And use your abdominal muscles to lift your knees back up to center, recenter your hips, knees and feet stay together, 90-degree angle. Take an inhale to prepare, drawing the navel down. And exhale, gently and slowly lower the knees off to the left side, using these abdominal muscles to slow the descent. You can place a block or a prop underneath that left knee if you need it, but keep the right shoulder rooted on the mat. Maybe you turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. And stay here for 2 slow, deep breaths. All right, press the backs of the hands into the mat. Gaze comes back up to center. Lift those knees back up to center. Wrap your hands around your shins or your thighs. Draw the backs of your shoulders and the back of your head off the mat. Come into an egg-shaped squeeze. Everything together in here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for one more breath. And exhale, extend the legs nice and long. Arms come up overhead. Point the toes away from the body. Extend the fingertips nice and long for one full body stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, release. Keep the legs long. Extend the arms down by the sides. Palms face up. Let your knees and your feet fall out to the side. Setting up for a final pose of practice, Shavasana. If you prefer any other variation, perhaps blocks underneath the knees to allow more of your spine to rest on the mat. Or maybe a Supta Badakanasana, bring the bottoms of your feet together, knees out to the side. Any variation you choose, just make sure it allows your body and your mind to find ease here. Allowing yourself to slowly find comfort, scanning your body for any bits of tension and sending your breath there to soften. Maybe you can ease your ankles and your toes, softening the muscles around your face and your jaw. And if your gaze softens or your eyes close completely, allow the gaze and the focus to turn internal. Okay, let's start to bring some awareness back into our bodies. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. And rotate your wrists and your ankles. And switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath here on your back. Now gently draw your knees into your chest as you roll over to one side of your body. Let your top arm rest on your bottom, top knee rest on your bottom knee, and just stay for a breath here on your side. And keep your eyes soften as you use your top arm to press yourself up into a comfortable cross-legged seat to complete your practice today. In your cross-legged seat, you can rest your palms on tops of your knees, maybe palms face up, or bring your hands into the center of your chest. Let's all take a nice deep inhale in together. Through the mouth, exhale. Thank you all for joining me for practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. All right, wonderful practice, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Looks like the internet's a lot better, so hopefully the stream stayed nice and consistent. I hope your shoulders are feeling good. I know it's a little bit of a lower body workout as well. We always get everything in our practices here, so I hope you enjoyed. Ellen, thank you so much for joining me and checking in. Always nice to see your name pop up, and I know your consistency is just really fantastic, and just really proud of you always showing up here. So I just want to thank you all, and I will plan to see you next time in practice next Wednesday at 7 a.m. Same here on YouTube. If you ever have any questions, you can always leave them in the chat, comments, or other ways to reach out to me in the video description. So again, on behalf of myself and Coney wants to say goodbye real quick. I want to thank you all for joining me, Ellen. Oh, nice. Good job, Ellen. I'm so glad you were able to participate and just go through the whole class. Yeah, this was a good challenge, but also a really nice shoulder opener, which I really love. This is one of my favorite kind of routines I've put together. So good for you for being able to stick in all the way through class. All right. Well, Coney says hi to Josie and everyone else out there. So Thank you all so much. I will see you next time in class. Enjoy the rest of your day and your week. Peace.